Welcome to the Alex Urbina radio show. We're live in the KHTS studio in downtown Newhall, California. And I'm hanging out with my lovely co-host, Ellen Tunick. Thanks for being here today.
Absolutely.
The show is all about life coaching and how to create maximum value for yourself from a life coach or from the simple willingness to be open to all possibilities. And today we're taking on the F word. Fear is what stops most of us in our tracks from moving. And you have your box of Kleenex.
I have my
Good
box
for you.
of Kleenex.
You know, fear seems to be the one thing that if we can master our fears, we could literally master ourselves and then master our lives. So we'll tackle that in a few minutes. But before we get into that, we're going to put you into the hot seat, throw a couple questions out, just get the ball rolling for us. So Ellen, what you got for us today?
Okay, first, I've got 3 questions that I need answered before we move into the Kleenex box. Okay, so is there a difference between feelings and emotions, or is it just a different word for the same thing?
It's a great question. I think that, first of all, we have to, when you talk about the word feelings is like the mechanism that allows you, it's the art of feeling. So you have to feel your emotions. Your emotions are just your emotions, but you can have emotions and still not feel them. So imagine when you were a baby, your feelings as the tool to experience the emotions. If you slowly start to numb your feelings out, the emotions can be there. You just can't feel them fully.
Oh, okay. So to feel is the actual action of the emotion.
That's right. So you first have to not have your feeling mechanism be numbed out. If it's numb, you can't fully feel your emotions.
Okay.
The emotion is what's caused to be able to experience your experience.
Okay.
So your feelings is more like the mechanism. It's the tool to be able to experience whatever emotion is coming up for you.
Okay.
So let's take sadness, for example. If there's a certain scenario that you've decided to feel sad, upon feeling those sad emotions, if your feelings are numbed out to a 70%, you're only able to feel the sadness at 70%. If you've numbed yourself out to 15%, you can only feel that sadness to 15%. However, if your feelings are numbed at 15%, it works just like that with happiness. So now when you're in a scenario where you choose to be happy, you can only feel the happiness now at 15%.
So basically your emotional menu is driven by that 10%, 15%. So all the feelings that come underneath that are mitigated by whatever that percentage of emotions that you've been able to shut down,
right,
numb to.
So your ability to feel
the emotion,
to feel fully your emotions is dependent on your ability to allow yourself to feel all of it.
Okay.
And when we numb ourselves out, whether we're putting our walls up or we've slowly decided that I don't want to feel anymore. Let's say I have a limiting belief that I created when I was young, like I don't want to feel these hurt feelings anymore. And I keep saying that to myself. I don't like these hurt feelings. I don't like the sadness. Once I put a judgment on it, now I've decided that I want to feel those negative emotions less and less. So as I turn 8, 12, 15, 18, 22, I'm slowly numbing my ability to feel those emotions. However, we can't just decide I'm only going to feel 20% of the sad emotions or the negative emotions, but I want to feel 150% of the good ones.
Stuff.
Yeah, you can't just shut it off depending on what emotions you've decided that you want to feel or not. Once you numb it down to a certain degree, that's where you are. That's where you are. And then you just got to decide at a certain point, and that's where those of us that have decided to live their life more conscious and more aware and start learning how to embrace our feelings, we slowly decide that all emotions are a blessing. All emotions are gifts, rather than I don't like those versus I like these.
You can't really pick and choose.
You can. You just got to decide that when you're picking and choosing and labeling them good and bad, you're slowly you're numbing yourself.
Okay.
But when you get to have enough courageous to when and you have enough courage to feel all of your emotions, then you're able to feel all of them fully, and then you're able to see them all as blessings.
Okay, so that kind of answers one of the other questions, which was, is there such a thing as a negative emotion, or are all emotions valuable?
That's a great question. You're the one deciding that.
Okay.
You've always been the decider of which ones are negative, which ones are positive. You also have the ability to decide that they're all blessings, they're all beautiful, they're all a gift, they're all positive, or decide not that they're not. So you're the meaning maker to your own reality.
There's
so
that meaning maker thing
yeah,
again.
yeah. You're deciding what's real and what's not real.
Okay, and then one more before we jump in is there such a thing? I read this other day about emotional perfectionism. Is that a real concept? I mean, what I didn't really understand what the author was trying to convey.
Well, what did you hear in the article?
That people, well, I guess it's like if you're a perfectionist in life, that carries over into how you deal with your emotions, and so that you can become and it didn't sound like a positive to me. It sounded like, being a perfectionist in your life and your work, and how you clean your house can transition over into you believing that you have to have the perfect balance of emotional life.
So it sounds like they were trying to explain that certain people are in pursuit of creating perfect emotions.
Yes.
Now, when you talk about that concept, I can see it going two different ways. One way that you're looking for the perfect emotion. So if feeling something that you don't agree with, then you're always chasing something that you can never get. But if you decide that all of your emotions are perfect, then you're not chasing anything. You're just embracing them all. So it just depends on how you look at it.
Okay.
Because somebody that's chasing perfection, they can drive themselves nuts because nothing is ever perfect.
Nothing is ever perfect.
Or you can say everything is perfect. Then you're not chasing anything. You're learning how to embrace all of it.
Okay.
So then you're freed up to never not be perfect. It's almost like either none of us are perfect or we're all perfect. You have to decide. Again, you're the decision maker. You're the meaning maker to that.
Okay.
That's where personal power is getting clarity on what your own meaning maker looks like.
Meaning maker.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And that's why we have these discussions.
We forget. I mean, I think about this all the time. I talk to people about it all the time. And I still forget that I'm the powerful one. I still have this feeling that it's out there, that it's not inside.
Yeah, everything that's happening is all happening inside of Ellen.
Yeah.
And everything that's happening in the world is all happening within Alex, and everything that's happening is all within yourself. You're the person that's perceiving everything. You're deciding what's good, bad, right, wrong, should, shouldn't. You're the one that's choosing to get upset, get angry, get mad based on what you're seeing, what you're interpreting, what you've decided, what you're feeling, what you're deciding about whatever the world pops up in front of you. And that's why when you can really understand that, how do I get into the box called the meaning maker and start tightening that up so that everything that happens in my life is just perfect and exactly the way that it should be and supposed to be, then everything in my life is a blessing, and I'm able to be freed up from being in resistance to everything and not liking some things and liking other things, but just learn how to embrace all of it.
Yeah.
What a beautiful way to live your life, right?
No question. Yeah.
So that's what we're in pursuit of. Those of us that are on this journey of enlightenment or consciousness, it's to how to keep shifting my perspective in a way that I'm able to see all things as blessings, resist nothing, and allow myself to accept and embrace whatever comes at me.
All things as blessings, and don't fall into that resistance mode. Which I tend to do. Be more aware, be more self-reflective when I feel it coming. Back it off and go, Okay, let this in. Let it in. So that leads us to our topic of fear. I asked a bunch of people, friends, family, I said, what is the one emotion that you are most challenged with on a daily basis? And I was surprised at the response that I got. A majority of the people that I asked, one said frustration, one said lack of self-empowerment, one said angry, and all the rest said fear, including me. And I thought, okay, I personally would like to, I do not want to walk, and I wasn't even aware of it until I had to ask myself that question. So I don't want to walk through my life in fear because that's, to me, it's very limiting, and I won't be able to experience my life if I'm living it in fear. So how do I move through that, purge that fear, get rid of it, be done with it?
Well, you're not going to get rid of fear. Fear is
Okay.
just an emotion that is designed to be like a warning sign for you. So let's start with the healthy fear, right? So healthy fear comes up when you're in a situation that you need to feel the fear and have the fear drive you to either get out of an uncomfortable situation or a situation that's going to be dangerous for you. So there's your ego coming in doing its job, right? Remember we talk about
Right.
ego, and it's like ego is there for us in a good way. It's designed to protect us and feel the fear, and that hey, let's be afraid because we're in a situation that's not pleasant for us. Danger's around the corner. You need to run or you need to get out of here. So that's the healthy fear.
Okay.
And that you got to learn how to embrace and be grateful for because it's a gift.
And recognize.
And recognizing when it's coming up and when your ego does its job to get you out of the way. However, in relationships, your ego that's unchecked, when you just let your ego come in and do its job without you letting the ego know that it has parameters or guidelines, or without telling your ego when to take a break and when not to, when your ego is just running fully rampant in your relationships, it's doing its job. It's protecting you from fear. So it's telling you, I'm afraid I'm going to get hurt in this relationship, so put your walls up and don't let people in. We're afraid to get rejected in this relationship, so let's be afraid and let's not be vulnerable, or let's not be 100% honest. So your ego in relationships with the fear is keeping you playing small, you're not trusting people, you're not letting people in. So that's how in relationships the fear can destroy you if you're not conscious and aware of.
Keeps you playing small.
Absolutely,
I love
yeah.
that.
But it's really doing
I get
it's really
that.
doing its job. It doesn't want you to
Yeah.
get hurt. It's protecting you. So that's why in real life our ego is doing its job, it's doing its greatest job. It's keeping us alive to live one more moment. But in our relationships, in the guise of protecting us and keeping us safe, it's destroying us in our relationships when we don't tell it, hey, go sit in the corner and put your nose in the corner and take a time out. I'm sitting with my mom right now and I want to be vulnerable and I really want to have deep, meaningful conversation with her. So that's when you have to be mindful and aware of ego, and when it shut it down and give it its time out. And then when you're ready to walk out the door to face the world or get back in your car and take on the challenges that life's going to throw at you in these dangerous situations, before you walk out the door, grab your ego from the corner and say, come on, let's go.
Come on.
Yeah, but in
Time to go.
But in relationships, if you're not putting your ego in check, it jumps in there and just starts sabotaging you.
It sounds, again, because we are the meaning maker, I have to keep going back to that. We actually, instead of our ego, being the lead horse, we are.
That's right.
We get to tell it, okay, time to trot, time to gallop, and time to go sleep.
That's right. Now, what you just described is a conscious awakening. most of us don't know that the ego's running us, because the ego has us believing that we're this one and the same. Like, you don't know ego's there until someone starts talking to you about ego and starts pointing out that you have an ego, and then you look and go, "Oh my God, I do have an ego," and then you start separating who am I versus who's my ego.
Okay.
Because when you were a little kid, ego just came in and goes, "Move over, kid. I'm
You're right.
I'm gonna take the reins
And
here."
you go, okay.
Yeah, because you don't know any
Step
better,
right in.
and no one's teaching you that.
Right.
So what you do is just go, "All right," and
Okay.
so ego just starts guiding you in your life.
Yeah,
At
and you
age
ride its
4,
coattails.
At 4 or 5 or whenever it is, and you just
Keep going.
think you're one and the same.
Okay.
But you don't realize that what's opposite of your ego is your spirit. And once you have a conscious awakening, you start to go, "Wait a minute," and you start questioning, "Am I ego or am I spirit?" And then once you, on your own accord, decide that you're spirit, then it's spirit's driving, and I'm in charge of the plane, the boat, the vehicle, the vessel. I'm in charge. I'm spirit driven, and I get to let ego know when it can come in and support me or not.
Okay, so taking that, I have been challenged with getting older, and maybe it's my ego and not my spirit, this intense fear of when I die. And I think about it a lot. And it makes me really sad. And I'm trying really hard to kind of just lay it out there and say, what is it that is so consuming for me right now? I mean, I think about the pain that my kids will feel, and I'm projecting because I had so much pain when my mom passed. Obviously, I've never resolved that, and I'm moving it into my life. And it's really, I was talking to Ron about it, and it made him really sad that I was involved in my head in this. But I want to know, where is it coming from? Why am I all of a sudden really consumed with this? And I want to move through this. I want to be able to live and not be consumed with that. Because today's today.
So then my suggestion to you is decide to live fully, 150%. When you're not living 150%, you have time to think about dying. I wish I had time to think about dying and being afraid of death, but I'm too busy living, like focusing on what's next, what I'm up to, what do my kids need from me, focusing on, the relationship with my wife, and all the other things that I'm committed to. It seems to be more important than stopping and going, let me think and let me ponder about.
Let me
my
get
death.
morose here and
Yeah, like you never heard that saying, get busy living or get busy dying?
Yes.
Yeah, you're not busy getting busy living, because there's a part of you that still takes a time out and is worried and wondering about death. Like, if you have that much time, you need to start focusing on some other stuff.
Well, and I'm sure it has a lot to do with this transition of retirement.
Okay, maybe.
I thought about it, that all of a sudden with all this retirement, blah, blah, blah,
Yeah.
that's what's coming up for me.
Okay, however, if the framework that you have is
retirement means death.
Yeah.
And you and I have talked about that before.
Yeah. And so you have these sayings and this meaning that's attached to retirement. Oh my God, I'm getting older. Oh my God, I'm at the back end of my life. Oh my God. And none of that means anything. It's just a story. They're stories you made up.
Yes.
And all it really is you've completed a certain journey in your life, and now it's time for chapter 14. But the problem is you don't know how many chapters you have. You could have 30 chapters. You could have 80 chapters. But,
who knows?
But you should be excited that you got past chapter
whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And be excited for how am I going to write the next chapter?
Okay.
and be focused on that. Like that should be what you should be focused, getting up every morning excited about, studying and learning and trying to figure out what's next for you.
Okay.
All right. I'm so glad that, are you glad that the Kleenex, you didn't have to grab them yet?
Well, if you want me to grab them, I could definitely grab them. But
Well, the
I'm
verdict's
okay.
not out yet, so we'll see on the second half of the show. We have to take a short break. When we get back, we're going to take it to a whole nother level. Stay tuned for more of the Alex Urbina radio show right here in your hometown station, KHTS.
Santa Clarita, bedbugs are taking over our city. They've invaded our homes, our businesses, and most importantly, our sleep. If you have suspicious bites that appear nightly, or have a bug that you need ID'd, your best option is to make one call to All Pro. We offer a 100% guarantee that your bedbug issues will be solved with heat in one treatment. No need to tent or spray your house with chemicals. Heat is all you need. Call 661-298-2200 or text me a bug picture to 661-645-0540. It's time to sleep tight again, STV.
Who says fun is just for weekends? Come live it every day at Skyline, a new kind of master plan community with indoor and outdoor lifestyle amenities perched in the beautiful hills of Santa Clarita with nearly 1,600 acres of open space, also known as your new backyard. Prices start in the mid-500s. Come for our grand opening event November 3rd with live performances, food trucks, craft beer, and model tours. RSVP at lifeatskyline.com. Join us November 3rd and get a taste of life wide open.
Marston's Restaurant has been a Pasadena landmark, voted the best breakfast in California by the Food Network magazine. Discover Marston's Santa Clarita location, open for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Marston's also has a fantastic catering menu that adds a delicious twist to any event. And they cater picnic dinners for that memorable romantic date. Experience Marston's on Newhall Ranch Road and McBean, or log on to marstonsrestaurant.com.
You've been assigned to plan your office party. Time to bring in the experts. AV Party Rentals is your go-to place for the most innovative holiday party ideas. AV's been planning Santa Clarita events from giant galas to intimate gatherings for longer than, well, since Rudolph was a young fawn. AV will turn your office party into a winter wonderland. See the latest holiday displays at Santa Clarita's favorite wedding, party, and holiday event rental store, AV Party Rentals on Newhall Avenue and at avpartyrental.com.
Sunday brunch is back at the Canyon Club and now featuring our hometown singing sensation, Savannah Burrows.
Maybe with someone else.
Sunday brunch at the Canyon Club with Savannah Burrows, our Santa Clarita hometown girl. Savannah Burrows was the winner of the 2016 local nationwide country showdown contest. Her original music, high-energy performances, relatable storytelling lyrics, and powerful vocals resonate with live audiences everywhere she plays.
Knock, knock on the door to my heart. Your smile just makes
Join us Sunday mornings for the Canyon Club's Sunday Brunch, complete with fabulous food, amazing ambiance, live music performed by our hometown sensation, Savannah Burrows, and a menu that's sure to please and then some. Incredible food, amazing music, bottomless mimosas, and the most fun you and your family can pack into a Sunday. Sunday Brunch at the Canyon, featuring Savannah Burrows. The Canyon Club Sunday Brunch begins at 10 a.m. Show starts at 11 at the Westfield Valencia Town Center. Tickets at Ticketmaster or wheremusicmeetsthesoul.com.
Hometown station.
KHTS AM 1220 and the new 98.1 FM.
And welcome back to the Alex Urbina radio show. I'm your host, hanging out with Mrs. Ellen Tunick, and we're talking about fear and how fear gets in the way sometimes and ruins it for us if we hang on to it a little bit too long.
I think what I've been doing is giving it too much validation that, I have to accept that when the time comes, the time comes. So I almost have to start there and be able to embrace that and go, nobody knows. So I can't spend a lot of time worrying about it, since worry is not even real. It's a projection that we create for ourselves. So I have to be able to just kind of wrap my arms around it and say, when the time comes, the time comes. But it's what happens while I'm here and now and alive. When I had asked a friend to give me an emotion, I said, and ask your husband, ask your kids. And, she gave me all the emotions, and, I said to her, I kind of laughed and said, great, we're all a bunch of head cases. And she said, no, we're all just alive. And it was like, thank you for that. Yes, you're absolutely right. I asked my granddaughter about, hers was fear. And it's fear of safety. I don't, I would love to respond to her. We weren't together, but I'm sure there's a lot of young people who fear of their safety. How, as a parent, as a grandparent, how do we respond and help our young kids who fear for their safety?
I think that first we have to validate that their fear is real. So as much as we, make up the belief system or the story that, fear is this falsehood, or it's a story that we make up, it's still real for us because we're the meaning maker to everything. So if something that we feel and we're really feeling the feelings of it, you're manifesting those real feelings. It's real to you. Even though it might not be real to the rest of us around you, it's really going on for you. So we got to be compassionate for whatever they're feeling and acknowledge and validate that it is real for you. But we have to slowly start opening up the possibility that what they're feeling is something that they're still generating for themselves. Like they're still at some point causing it a little bit at a time based on their own limiting beliefs, their own doubts, their own insecurities, their own lack of knowledge or information or wisdom or enlightenment. So,
or what their friends are saying,
all of that,
what they're reading,
all of that. And so with a compassionate heart and knowing that they're really feeling like that, we just get to walk them along that journey and plant these seeds, new seeds, and just open up these possibilities. So if you've ever seen a young person who's struggling with something and they're really having like a breakdown, and you watch the older, wiser mentor walk up to them, maybe it's a grandparent, they put their arms around them and they give them what they need, which is first they give them comfort, and then after the comfort, and then the person's kind of slowly gathers their emotion, and now they can listen. After the comforting, then the person's now comforting them with positive thoughts and opening up possibilities. My dear, if you focus on these things, you could just try, and before you know it, you're opening up their mind to see it in a different way, a new possibility. So you got to kind of trust that you can walk them through their journey and open up some possibilities to stretch their belief system so they can find something more empowering to focus on. It was funny because as you were talking earlier about being afraid of something, right? I thought to myself, I remember when I was younger, there were some things that like I had to overcome, and that was letting go of trying to focus on whatever it was that I really had no control over, which was needing to know what's next, right? And there's some fear even in that. Like I'm afraid of not knowing what's next or what's coming down the pipeline, or even death. Like I don't know if when it's coming. Right? You can be afraid of what you don't know that's coming down the pipeline. And then I remember one of my mentors saying, the way that you overcome that is you just start to develop more of your own personal power, your own leadership skills. And as you focus in developing more of your own leadership skills and your own personal power and focus on the things that you can change and what you can control, you start worrying less and less about what's coming down the pipeline, because as it comes down the pipeline, you start realizing that you're more powerful enough and competent enough to actually handle those circumstances. Are you following me?
Yes.
Imagine being like a video game where these things are coming out of the top of the screen and they just pop out of nowhere, and all of a sudden you're able to like crush it, and then a bigger one comes and you hit it one and you crush it. And as they're coming, you don't know when they're coming, but when they come, every time you keep crushing them as they show up, you start validating that, hey, I'm pretty good at this.
Like, and you start to believe in your ability.
That's right. And so what I want you to think of is, let's start focusing on what you're capable of creating with your own personal power. And let's start focusing on developing that powerful, confident, assured, patient leader that's inside of you. And if you focus more on creating that every single day, there's nothing or no other circumstance that can come that you cannot handle. And then when you start handling those circumstances, you start to go, hey, I'm pretty good at this.
Well, I think that what you said about, we're all worried, not all, but so many of us share that same what's coming next. My kid is graduating from college. What's going to happen next? What am I going to need to do? Am I going to be that right person when, they come home? All of that stuff. So how do we, well, like you said, you just start focusing on what you can do and what you're good at. And then when it pops up, because I tend to be okay with, I'll deal with it when I need to deal with it. It's just, I don't know what it is. It's just this death thing. The rest of the stuff is, it is what it is. If I need to deal with it, I will examine it when that comes up.
That's the best thing you can say to yourself, is that part right there. I'm going to trust that when it shows up, that in that moment, I'm going to evolve into the person that I need to be in order to handle that circumstance. So maybe it takes a higher level of trust or faith that if and when whatever circumstance pops up that I might be afraid of, that when it comes, I'll handle it. I'll figure it out. And if I can't, guess what? I have a whole list of people that I can make phone calls to that will rally around me in that moment to help me handle that circumstances. That's one of the greatest feelings of insurance that you can have, is surrounding yourself with a village of people that want you to win, that are committed to having you win, that you can call in a heartbeat and go, hey, I got this circumstance. What ideas can you throw at me? And hey, I'm on my way. You know what I mean? And just know that if you can't, somebody that loves you enough will be there to support you and help you get through whatever it is that you can't get through.
It's really interesting that you say that, because I thought to myself, this is something that I'm, really feeling, but I don't share it. It's like, so I get what you're saying, and that is a beautiful thing. I'm not sure what my village is. So I think if I work on creating this village.
You have a village.
I know, but it's like I don't tap into
That's
it.
That's right. And because you've been the village for so many people for so long,
yes,
your village is hidden. But when I guarantee you, when you need
it's
them,
out there in the boonies somewhere.
But when you need them, they're all going to come running.
And I have to be able to get to that place where I ask my village.
Absolutely.
And I'm not there yet.
You can be. And so just you saying it right now is the first awareness of, wow, maybe I get to start reaching out and setting myself up for that.
Just even sharing it with Ron last night was big for me. You know, it's always, how you doing? Great, I'm fine.
Let me ask you a question. Do you consider yourself a giver?
Oh, yeah.
Do you consider yourself a taker?
No.
Okay, so I'm going to share a quick story with you when I was younger. When I was in my early 20s, I had one of my mentors. He abruptly just interrupted me during an event that we were at, and he looked at me and he goes, "You know what? You're a taker." And I said, "Excuse me?" And he goes, "Yeah." He goes, "Every time that I've needed you, you've always been there." He goes, "And I consider you this great giver. But the minute that you need somebody to give to you, when I came to give to you and you told me, no, it's okay, you have it handled, you became the biggest taker in the world." And I was stunned. Like I didn't
quite get that.
I couldn't wrap my mind around what he was saying. And I said, "What do you mean?" And what he said to me was, "You take away the opportunity for me to give back to you, and you become a taker. So you can't be this great giver and not know how to receive, because then you rob all of us that want to give back to you out of gratitude, and you become the biggest taker. So he goes, you have to learn how to receive, otherwise you become a taker. And it was the first time I've heard that concept, and it hit me like him socking me in the stomach. But it was more like a love punch.
Oh, absolutely.
And I remember tearing up just looking at him saying, thank you for saying that. I needed to hear that. And from that moment forward, I had to force myself to practice the art of receiving. And now, today, I'm proud to share with you that now I'm able to see what a blessing and what a gift it is. It's even to receive, you're still being a giver, because you're giving other people that opportunity now to experience what it's like to give to you.
Well, that's big. Yeah, that's really emotional. It's kind of, I have to switch my head around in that I totally intellectually understand that concept.
So now that you understand the concept and see the value, now you actually have to put it into practice.
Right.
So a little bit at a time, as people make gentle gestures like, hey, let me get this, I'll pick this up. And instead of you going, no, you get to bite your lower lip.
That'd be me.
And then turn to them and
say thank you.
Yeah, but not just thank you, but pour a little bit of sugar on top of it. Like, look them in their eyes and go, you know what, that means a lot to me. I really appreciate your friendship. And maybe you tell them, it's really hard for me to accept this right now, but I'm going to accept it, and I appreciate you. And just learn how to really emphasize it so that you're burning that experience into you, so you remember what it feels like to be a giver.
And I think that just by saying it, like you said, don't just say thank you. I have to almost make a big deal out of it.
That's right. Because if you
it is a big deal.
It is for you, right?
For me,
and maybe for them, because they have been wanting to, and some people.
What if they haven't wanted to?
But if they haven't wanted to, they wouldn't have offered.
Yeah.
And if they offered, it's a great opportunity for them to learn how to give back.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't have offered. They wouldn't have offered if they weren't.
Okay, so this village that I know I have, that everyone creates their little village. How do you ask for? Like, if you need something, how do you ask for it?
What do you mean, how do you ask for it? Give me an example. Like, what would you need that you got to make a phone call to somebody?
What if you're just, what if I'm, like this whole preoccupation with, the day. Instead of, this village that I have, these beautiful people that I know love me, how do I ask them to help me with this, to hear me? I
think first you would have to start with being emotionally honest, which is letting them know what's coming up for you.
Okay.
So you would let them know, hey, you know what? I just need let you know that for the next 3 months or 6 months or however long that period is, it's a very challenging time for me, and this is what I need most from you. So it's kind of like, prepare people, tee them up.
Prepare people and tee them up, and I hear that and understand that, and there's this side of me that I know what you're going to say, but I'm going to say it anyways. I don't want to burden them. It's like everybody's got so much on their plate. It's like all they need to hear is, oh God, now I got to take care of this too. So what I do is go, I'll figure it out. But I really want that honesty, and I really want that vulnerability, and I want them not to judge me by saying, "Are you, don't be silly, blah blah." It's like I have this projection of what I'm going to get back, when what I should say is, here I am, here is what I'm feeling, here's what I need.
Yeah, absolutely.
And that's all brand new.
Now, I know it's brand new, but what's amazing is I bet you expect, or in your wildest dreams would love the people in your life to be able to communicate that honestly with you. Would you not?
Absolutely.
So then why would you not be courageous enough to model that and practice that and show them what that looks like on your end?
I think that word again, courage. I have to summon that up again. It's easy not to be courageous. It's hard and fulfilling to be courageous.
Yeah.
Not hard.
Yeah, it's challenging, and you get to anyways because at the end of the day, you deserve it. And I think that might be another thing that you might be struggling with is really knowing how truly amazing you are and all the incredible things that you do for everybody. You deserve to get some of that back. And it's allowing yourself to receive that, I think, is the being able to break through the I am deserving and I am worthy and I am enough, and let yourself be showered by the love that gets to come back to you.
Yeah, bring it on.
Yeah, that's what I want to hear. Bring it on. All right, we're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to take it. We'll wrap the show up. Stay tuned for more of the Alex Urbina radio show right here in your hometown station, KHTS.
The best live theater can be found right here in the Santa Clarita Valley. The Canyon Theater Guild has been entertaining audiences for decades with top quality musicals and plays. Located on Main Street in Old Town Newhall, CTG also offers workshops for the young actor in your family. For more information, call the box office at 799-2702 or go online to canyontheater.org.
Hi, Kirk Stinson here with Plumbing by Kirk, your hometown plumber, here to let you know that it's sometimes more cost-effective to have Plumbing by Kirk fix it than to have your husband wrestle with those plumbing problems. And if you play your cards right, you might not have to let him know that we were even there. We invite you to visit our website for free plumbing advice at plumbingbykirk.com or give us a call, 263-6519. That's 263-6519.
My dad is the best plumber ever. Call Plumbing by Kirk.
It's time for your special event. Kelly's Wedding Garden is your perfect spot. Kelly's has transformed weddings, anniversaries, company parties in the Santa Clarita Valley for decades. They have it all. Delicious food, a beautiful setting, plenty of room, and a team of professionals that can handle it all. Kelly's Wedding Garden just off the golf course in Friendly Valley. Weddings, bridal showers, bar mitzvahs, company parties, anniversaries, class reunions. Kelly's Wedding Garden is your Santa Clarita oasis for outstanding, memorable events. Discover how you can transform your event at kellysweddinggarden.com. That's kellysweddinggarden.com.
At Advanced Audiology, we know how important hearing is to you, your loved ones, your work success, your safety, and your ability to stay in the game. Most people won't admit hearing loss to themselves or others. We make it easy for you. Today's digital hearing aids come in a variety of styles, including invisible. All feature-rich, providing unparalleled hearing quality, wearing comfort, and automation that simplifies your life. Don't be fooled by our imitators. There's only one Advanced Audiology with the purple sign next to AAA on Valencia Boulevard.
Do you think taxpayers should pay for politicians' political campaigns? Assembly candidate Christy Smith does. Christy Smith supports raising our taxes. But guess where the money would go? Christy Smith wants to spend as much as $600 million in taxpayer money paying for the annoying mail and TV that politicians bombard us with. Let that sink in. Assembly candidate Christy Smith wants you to pay for political campaigns, even for those politicians you disagree with. Let that sink in. Christy Smith would spend $600 million for politicians instead of better roads or better schools for our kids. Christy Smith is just wrong.
Women deserve equal pay for equal work. It's just that simple. That's what's good about Assemblyman Dante Acosta. Dante Acosta voted to require equal pay for equal work. And Dante Acosta voted to let every child attend pre-kindergarten. That's Dante Acosta. Bipartisan, independent, fair.
Paid for by Dante Acosta for Assembly 2018.
KHTS.
Now FM, 98.1 FM, and AM 1220. Your hometown station.
And welcome back to the Alex Urbina radio show. I'm your host, Alex Urbina, hanging out with Ellen Tunick. Today we'll be talking about fear. And I want to ask you, the listener, this question. What are you learning today to remind you of how to master your life? How do you overcome fear? How do you learn how to embrace the fear and carry fear with you into whatever challenge that you're headed to, where you don't allow the fear to be bigger than you. You don't allow the fear to paralyze you.
I was just going to say.
Yeah. It's really more about going, hey, fear is here to remind me, like your friend said, that I'm alive, right? Fear's a great gift to us to remind us I'm alive. I'm doing something out of my comfort zone. You know, you got to remember, growth happens outside your comfort zone.
Always.
And fear is going to be out there. It's part of the experience. It's part of the territory. It's to let you know.
It's the little
that
nudge.
It's letting you know that, hey, you're out here where there's value. Because inside your comfort zone, there's no fear. There's safety, security, but we don't grow in our comfort zone. We just keep becoming know-it-alls and keep regurgitating the same information we know, but there's no challenge. So fear is just a way to remind you that you're out there, out of your comfort zone, taking on new challenges and learning from them. Hopefully, you're learning from them.
Hopefully.
And
The first thing that I'm going to do is to reframe even the word fear. It's not a bad word.
Mm-hmm.
It's not a negative. It's just a word that represents a feeling.
Here's a great saying: fear is just fear. That's it. It's just fear.
It doesn't. You do with it as you please.
Everything after fear is just fear. Everything after that
is up to
is
me.
a story you make up.
Yeah.
Oh my God, you know.
Okay. We go back to that very, very important thing that I am learning is I have made up a story.
We're all making up stories all the time.
But I need to rewrite that
That's
script.
correct. Create an empowering story.
Yes.
Like, again, the stories are the beliefs that we make up. Fear is my greatest teacher. Fear is a blessing. It reminds me that I'm up to extraordinary things. Fear is to keep me on my toes, to help me be present in the moment.
Yeah.
So create these empowering beliefs or
New
stories around fear, and then when your fear starts to come up, you'll show up in a different way.
Right.
In your life.
Right. It won't break me down. It'll
Correct.
build me up.
That's correct. If you surround yourself with the new stories, the empowering ones.
Okay. And it's what I'm hearing and learning is to be more responsive to personal power, that I can achieve so much by myself personally. And I tend to forget that, how wonderful and fulfilling personal power is. And it goes back to our original conversation, personal power. I have to make sure that my old belief systems, that sounds selfish, still pop up for me. But at least when they do pop up, I kind of can identify them now. Don't be conceited. Don't be selfish. I'm slowly undoing that framework. But it takes a lot of time, but at least I'm aware of it now.
What does selfish mean to you?
Well, as a child, selfish always meant that you
were a taker.
I was a taker, yeah, that I wasn't thinking about other people. And
all right,
it was
and after
more important to
after
do
the
that.
mentor story I shared with you, now selfish could be a giver.
A giver.
Now who are you giving to?
I am giving to my friends and family and my village.
And yourself.
And myself, this incredible opportunity.
Yeah.
To express feelings and have people surround me with loving those feelings. I guess there's always that challenge that I'm going to get a judgment back on those feelings.
Yeah. So your homework gets to be tonight. You go back home and you let Ron know that you're practicing how to let him give back to you.
And I haven't. Yeah.
So,
I have pushed him away with allowing him to help me.
Yeah. Why?
I don't know. It's I don't know.
So let's have a breakthrough in that.
Let's have a breakthrough.
Yeah.
He's my first, he's my guinea pig.
Yes, and be grateful.
Because he loves me.
Absolutely, he does. And let's be grateful for those people in our inner circle that get to challenge us the most and let us learn how to let them be our biggest teachers as well.
Yes.
So you go on this weekend, have yourself a beautiful weekend.
Thank you.
Allow people in your life to be in service to you and give back to you, and you get to allow yourself to receive and reclaim some of those blessings that you've been giving out for so many years.
Reclamation.
Absolutely. All right, that's all the time we have, but the good news is we're here live every Friday at noon. Follow me on Facebook at Coach Alex Urbina. I'm also on Instagram and YouTube. Thanks for joining us on the Alex Urbina Radio Show right here on your hometown station, KHTS.